No one has ever said, I became a lawyer to make a lot of money and live a great life, and certainly not to toil away countless hours in conflict with other attorneys, colleagues, and clients. Almost everyone says they became a lawyer to, in some way, make the world a better place, to help the underprivileged, to create more access to the judicial system, to improve society, to right some social wrong, or to better their community. We became lawyers to be fulfilled, to be of service. We became lawyers to be helpful, to solve problems, to find solutions to problems.
Welcome to the Free Lawyer Podcast. I'm your host, Gary Miles. The Free Lawyer Podcast is designed for the lawyer, entrepreneur, or professional who is in some way unfulfilled, stressed, or stuck, and is looking for something better. We will discuss various blocks that limit us from achieving the personal freedom that we all desire, but have not yet fully experienced. And we will give actionable steps to free yourself from them. Are you looking to achieve a new level of success? If so, this podcast is for you.
Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you're doing great today. Start of a new week, and hope you had a wonderful, relaxing weekend. Today, I'm going to talk about 10 tips, 10 hot tips for you to find greater success, greater fulfillment, greater joy in your practice with less stress, less overwhelm, less misery, less anxiety, less burnout. And you all may know on this podcast, not every time, but very frequently, I ask my guests this question. What would you say to the lawyer who's sitting in his office listening to you, who is stressed, overwhelmed, confused, and burned out? What advice do you have? So today is my turn to answer that question for you. And you all know that our practice of law is incredibly hard, isn't it? There's just so much going on. We have demands from our clients who want their problems answered right away as quickly as they can. We have billable hour requirements, which seem just so overwhelming and tedious and just too much. We have partners who keep giving us more and more work to do. We feel the stress of success. We worry how our case is going to turn out. We feel we're competing with the lawyer on the other side of the case, but even sometimes lawyers in our own firm. It just gets to be so much. There's so much tension and stress and demands on us, and the hours and pressure can be simply too much. And so often, you may know, I speak to a lot of lawyers on here through networking calls, and so many of them were so excited to pass the bar, or in the Canada and the UK, be called to the bar, because it was so much hard work, wasn't it? We had to study so hard for the bar exam and law school and all the competition and stress of law school. And finally, we broke through. We finished our education. We took the bar exam. We passed. And now we were lawyers. And it was a time of great celebration. We were all so excited. I remember many years ago, when it was my turn, my family taking me out to dinner. And it was like the culmination of years and years of effort and the beginning and start of a hoped-for wonderful career by so many of us. It was a long, arduous journey. But then I talk to them now, and they had been filled with such bright-eyed enthusiasm and excitement to be a lawyer. But now, 3, 5, 10, doesn't matter how many years later, they're no longer enjoying what they're doing. They hate it. They're burned out. They think about quitting the profession. And that's so sad. It's so sad. They wonder why they ever chose to be a lawyer, and it's not at all what they expected. They're stressed. They're frustrated. They're unfulfilled. What do I have to say to that lawyer who is in that place now? To that lawyer who who, although he or she wanted to be a lawyer now, thinks they hate it. It's not what they thought. It's not bringing them the fulfillment that they ever had. And that's an important question. So I wanted to let you know that I think some of you know I wrote a book called Breaking Free. And in the first 12 chapters of that book, I talk about 12 of the mindset prisons that we find ourselves in. They're the things such as perfectionism, people pleasing, comparing ourselves with others, expecting certain results, fear of failure, burnout, things such as that, worrying about the future. And in it, I give tools for you to apply to help overcome that challenging mindset prison that you might find yourself in. And then in the second half of the book, I give 12 keys to unlock the prisons. There are such things as gratitude, acceptance, and mindfulness. Ways to live life that the stresses of life don't bother us quite as much, where we stop trying to resist things we cannot control and accept those things that we can't change. So today I wanted to take just a few minutes to talk about 10 tips that I have for you when you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed in your office, and you wonder why you ever chose to be a lawyer, and you're questioning if you still want to be. 10 tips for you to reflect on that may be of help to you. The first is this: know that you are never alone. You feel that way, don't you? There are people in the office next to you, but you feel disconnected from them. You feel disconnected from your firm. You feel like there's no one in your firm you can speak to. No one that you could share your fears, your struggles, your uncertainties with. And it's really, really difficult. And it looks like everyone else in the firm is succeeding and happy, everyone but you. You feel like you're the only one in that situation. It seems like no one has it as difficult as you do. But the truth is, the world is filled with lawyers like you who feel stressed and overwhelmed. You're not the only one. In fact, you're one of many. In fact, most lawyers feel like you do. And that sense of isolation that we often think exists makes the pressure even more overpowering. So the first tip is to remember that many others are in your situation. Perhaps the lawyer in the office right next to you feels the same way that you do. There are many, many people who feel like you do. But we often compare ourselves to what people look like, and they're not voicing their concerns or their frustrations either, and they look at you with a smile, so you assume they're awfully happy and you're not. But no, you're not the only one. 2, know that it does not have to be this way. Oh, but how can that be? What are the answers? How do I get out of this box? You may be wondering. Trust me, it doesn't have to be that way. Whatever your existence is that seems so overpowering, seems so overwhelming, it doesn't have to be like that. There are ways you can find the practice of law to be fulfilling and successful. And it may be where you are. It may be that changes can be made to your mindset, to how you approach your day, to what you do, to the firm, or it may be somewhere else. But I've talked to many lawyers who are stressed and burned out, and now they are practicing law for them in a way that's exciting and fulfilling, and you can too. So remember, when it seems so dark to you, when it seems so hopeless, when it seems there is no answer, do not ever lose sight of the fact that it doesn't have to be that way, that you don't have to feel the way that you do. 3, know that there is always a solution, always. Sitting at your desk, overwhelmed, you may not know what the solution is right now, but have trust, have faith that there is a solution. There is a way to find the fulfillment and the freedom that you seek. So the first is to know you're not alone. The second, remember, it doesn't have to be this way. And the third is there's always a solution. My 4th tip is to urge you to remember that you're never stuck. So many lawyers feel they're stuck. They took this job that pays a lot of money because they had a mortgage on their house. had just gotten married, there's a law school debt to be paid, they got a great salary, and now they feel like they're stuck. They can't take a step to do something else because they need the money of their job. No, you always have a choice. One of the amazing gifts of our profession is that there are many avenues we can choose to use our legal education, our talents, and experience. You have a choice. You don't have to be doing what you're doing. You are not stuck. You have the freedom and the power to practice law however and wherever you want, either in your present firm and make changes of how you think or how the firm acts to be more satisfied, or elsewhere. So 4 important principles to get started with. You're never alone. It doesn't have to be this way. There's always a solution, and you're never stuck. You have a choice. The 5th is to determine your essential values. What is important to you? What is it where you work now that causes that overwhelming frustration? What is it that you don't like about your present position? Do you want more independence and autonomy? Do you want a different work environment? Do you want to practice law in another practice area? Do you want to run your own firm? What would your dream practice look like? What would be the perfect legal position for you if you had your wish? Take time and reflect. What is it that gives me joy? What is it in law that really would make me happy? What are my critical beliefs? How much money do I need to make? How many hours do I want to work? How important is my time with my family? Where do I want to work geographically? How much independence and autonomy do I need? What kind of people do I want to work with? What kind of clients do I want to represent? Once you realize that why you're frustrated and unhappy, we can figure out the source of that. What is the cause of your frustration? Once we know what the cause is of your frustration, we can figure out what needs to be changed. We can figure out what we need to do differently to have a position, have a career that is more aligned with your critical values. 6, seek fulfillment. Why did you decide to become a lawyer? I suspect your answer is, I didn't decide to become a lawyer to make what you're making and working these horrendous hours and under so much pressure. That's not why you decide to become a lawyer. I ask many attorneys that question. No one has ever said, I became a lawyer to make a lot of money and live a great life, and certainly not to toil away countless hours in conflict with other attorneys, colleagues, and clients. Almost everyone says they became a lawyer to, in some way, make the world a better place, to help the underprivileged, to create more access to the judicial system, to improve society, to right some social wrong, or to better their community. We became lawyers to be fulfilled, to be of service. We became lawyers to be helpful, to solve problems, to find solutions to problems. But what happened then? We got our job and we did unfulfilling things inconsistent with our original goal. So what's the solution? How do we balance that out? Try to find what area of law you would find fulfilling. Who would you like to serve? What kind of problems would you like to solve? When you practice law in an area that you find genuinely fulfilling, so much of the stress and the overwhelm disappears. It's no longer a job, but a passion. You're doing something you love. 7, be genuinely present. So often our mind wanders to the future, and the future is a place of fear and of worry. And other times we get stuck in the past with resentment or regret or guilt or disappointment. The key is to be truly present in the moment. Listen empathetically to the person you're speaking with. Focus singularly on your project. Enjoy who you are with and what you are doing. Be aware of your thoughts and feelings and return them to the present. So often I find I'm living in the future. I'm somewhere where I enjoy being, and I'm thinking about what am I going to do when I get home? What a stupid thought. It robs me of the joy of the present. And so often I waste time up in my head arguing with people who aren't there, having a fight or disagreement with someone who I'm not really having a disagreement with. It's just in my mind. So be aware of your thoughts and your feelings and bring them back to the present. See, the present is the only time where you can make a change. The present is where you can always find happiness and joy and success. 8, practice acceptance. Stop resisting those things you cannot change. We have no power over the other lawyer, over our client, or over our demanding partner. There are circumstances in our practice that may be very difficult. They may be very frustrating, but we can't change them. We have no power over them. What do you have power over? You have power over your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. So accept those things you cannot change and change the things you can. You know, my dad told me when I was a little kid, my dad was big on the ocean. He loved the water. He used to ride waves into his 80s. And he was in the Navy in World War II and just very knowledgeable about the ocean, the water, and taught me an important principle of life. I'd go out as a kid into the ocean in Ocean City, Maryland, and I look back and see where our umbrella was and where the chairs were my family was sitting, and I wanted to stay in front of them. And Ocean City had this powerful undertow or current that would take you down the beach. It would push you in one direction. And I'd be in there and I'd be fighting it, trying to stay where I wanted to be. And instead of enjoying the feel of the waves and seeing the waves coming at me, I'm sitting there digging my feet into the sand and trying to resist the current that's pushing me down the beach. And my dad told me that really didn't make sense. Go with the flow. Let the current push you. And when you're too far away from where you want to be, just walk 20 yards back to the beach, walk up to the beach and start over. And that's a great principle, to accept the things I cannot change, accept that the current is pushing me, go with the flow of life. Accept those things you can't change and change the things you can. You will find you have so much greater freedom when you focus on yourself, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what actions you're taking. And when you focus on the changes you can bring to your world, rather than being frustrated and stressed about other people and circumstances you have no power over, the more you accept the circumstances you cannot change, the greater your freedom. 9, be grateful. No matter how frustrated you are, we all have so many things to be thankful for. Our health, our education, our professional career, our financial security, our spouse, our children, our pets. We all have so much to be grateful for. And whatever it might be, we can appreciate many things in our life. But see, this is the problem. We often focus on what we don't like in our life. We focus on what we do not have that we want, instead of truly enjoying and appreciating what we do have. How often do you feel stress about the things you don't like and just focus on them, focusing on the things you don't like, how disagreeable your partner is, or whatever it might be? But instead, change your focus. Focus on the things you're happy about. Focus on the gifts. Focus on the good things. One of the tools I have my clients do is to write down every morning for a month 3 things that they're grateful for. Every morning for a month. That's 90 things. But the trouble is you cannot repeat anything. So every day you have to come up with just 3, not many, just 3 new things to be grateful for. But this is the problem. After 20 days, you've written down 60 things you're grateful for. You've covered kind of everything you might normally think about. So what happens then? You have to search for something in your life to be grateful for. You have to search for something you're happy about in your life. And trust me, I know this to be true. I promise you. When you search for something in your life to be grateful for, you will be in a much happier place of mind. And when you look for those things, you will find them. And at the end of the day, in your journal, write down those things in your day that went well. Those people who were nice to you, those people who helped you out, the cases you won, the motions that you got a good ruling on, the nice new client that you had, the client who thanked you. Don't think of the things that didn't go well. There are plenty of those too, but just think of the things that went well that you were happy about and write them down in your journal. If you carry that attitude of gratitude with you every day, the stresses you feel will seem so much more minor and inconsequential. And 10, seek support. One of the troubles with our practice is it's amazing. We feel so alone. We feel so isolated. We're in a firm with hundreds of lawyers, but we feel alone. Surround yourself with a circle of friends or peers who support you and care for you. Stay in contact with your friends. Don't lose them in the stress of your world, whether they're college friends, law school friends, neighbors, golf buddies. Stay connected with them. Obtain support and encouragement from those who care for you. Find a group in the Bar Association of like-minded people that you can connect with, either people in your practice area or the Young Lawyers Committee, or some group of lawyers that you can meet regularly, have lunch with, and be open and transparent with and obtain support. When you need assistance, reach out to them. But also, I strongly encourage you to consider getting a mentor who will work with you, a mentor who you can speak to regularly, a mentor who you can open yourself up to honestly and confidentially. And that person will know more about you and your practice than anyone else in the world. And your mentor will guide you and support you and listen to you and help you, hold you accountable. I have the privilege of coaching some amazing lawyers right now. And it's such a professional and mutually supportive and positive relationship. And my clients have grown so much. They've overcome perfectionism and self-doubt and confusion. And now they have confidence and clarity. And they feel much happier and less overwhelmed by the practice. Your mentor can encourage and support and advise you and hold you accountable. And you can develop clarity, confidence, and contentment. You don't have to be alone. And some people say, "Why, I don't have the time." Well, trust me, you have the time. There's nothing that's more important to you than yourself, your own mental health, your own success, your own fulfillment, your own freedom. And if there's anyone that's worthy of being invested in, it's you. So I strongly encourage you to get some mentor that you're comfortable with. I'd be happy to chat with you as a courtesy and see if we're a fit. I want you to be supported by the mentor who you feel most comfortable with. So if you want to set up a call with me, you can do it. GaryMiles.net is my website, and we can set one up. You want to transform your stress into success. And I want you to know that change is possible and a fulfilling legal career is within your grasp. So embrace these 10 tips as your guiding light on your journey. And these 10 tips, really, if you put them all together, will really help you to remember you're never alone. And that's where your initial stress comes from. You feel like you're the only one. And you feel like it's a terrible way to live, but it doesn't have to be that way. There's always a solution, and you're never, ever stuck. Figure out what you're looking for in your practice. Figure out what makes you happy, what your values are, and then find some role in law that you find fulfilling. And in your day-to-day work, be genuinely present in the moment. Accept those things you cannot change and take charge of your thoughts and your feelings and your actions. Live in gratitude and seek support from peers and from a mentor. Your journey to success begins now. You can reshape your legal career, redefine your purpose, and turn your stress into a stepping stone towards a brighter, more fulfilling future. To me, life is all about how we can be personally free. And that's why I call this podcast The Free Lawyer. And you can create more freedom in your life by taking charge of it, by setting yourself free from those things you can't control, by choosing what you want to do in law, finding someone to help you guide you there, and making it happen. You don't have to live in stress, success, and burnout. And if you're looking for a way to break free from that, get in touch with me and I'll be glad to help you. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you found those 10 tips helpful. And as always, please be well, be safe, and be free.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Free Lawyer Podcast. Wherever you are listening, if you enjoyed what I shared, please leave me a rating and review. I would appreciate hearing more about what you like best and what topics you might like me to cover in future episodes. If you are interested in experiencing a more fulfilling and a more successful life, please contact me at www.garymiles.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me so I can learn more about you, your challenges, and your dreams. I appreciate each and every one of you, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks to all of you for your support.